K.Luke, batch number 9 of their blended straight bourbon whiskeys. Need I say no more? Spin it! Alright guys, so as I stated, this is the batch 9 of the K.Luke blended straight bourbon whiskeys. Comes in at 118.4 proof. That's distilled in Kentucky and Indiana. It's a big fan of batch number 8. So far, batch number 8, probably up there with one of my favorites so far. Can this number 9 top it? Let's find out. Let's get in the nose. So further into the glass on this one, I get, like, there's your traditional kind of bourbon notes, your caramels, vanillas. I get a very subtle hint of, like, some syrup. Like some maple syrup. Further away from the glass, I pull out more citrus notes on this one. Further away, which is surprising. I don't typically get a lot of that citrus on here. I mean, you do a little bit, but not so much on the nose. I would, traditionally get some more on the palate. But really, kind of, I like that little bit of maple influence. It's very subtle. But again, tagging along with a lot of those like caramels, vanillas. The very kind of unique chocolate note on this one. So it reminds me of like, so if you were to bake like a chocolate cake and some of it were to get burnt on the very bottom, it almost gives me that smell of a slight kind of like burnt chocolate further into the glass, tagging along with all those other kind of aromas that I was pulling out. Really nice nose, guys. Get in the palate. Cheers. That's funny. I say that. That almost like burnt kind of chocolate note, because guess what? Right on the center strap of the palate into the back, that was the first note that I got. It kind of skipped over the front of the palate, which is surprising, but that like burnt layer of chocolate that you kind of get there sitting on the center of the palate into the back, a little bit of spiciness, a little bit of sharpness, maybe some black pepper, and they're kind of flowing through into the back of the palate. Pretty nice viscosity to it. But front of the palate, it kind of, at least that first sip, kind of skipped over a little bit. And then that like deep, dark, rich kind of caramel. A little bit of vanilla on this one, but that chocolate, that burnt chocolate is set across the center and into the back. I was hoping I was going to get that on the palate, because I got it on the nose, and I was like, man, that'd be really interesting if I got it on the palate. And guess what I did? It's good. Nice first sip. Let's get in the second one, guys. See, there's the citrus that I get. So typically I would get a little bit of citrus there on the palate, and it's more of an orange, almost like a blood orange, kind of tart than it is like a normal kind of orange. But then mixed with that like burnt chocolate, it almost gives me like a VDN kind of vibe to this. Knowing that it's not finished, it still gives you like it's very different on the palate. Like this profile is very, very different from what I'm used to from batch 8. This is opposite ends of the spectrum here. Front of the palate, kind of light in flavor right now, at least on that second sip. You still get a lot of those traditional kind of notes, but the winner here, the breadwinner here, is definitely that middle and back of the palate. That center strap into the back. Pretty nice finish on this one too. Again, it falls along that medium side. Let's get a last sip, guys. Cheers. The orange has kind of faded off a little bit. You still get it. It's very kind of subtle at this point on the third sip. Chocolate influence definitely still there. Brown sugar, black pepper kind of influence there into the back of the palate. Still remains kind of sweet. The front of the palate, though, had a very unique kind of note on the first sip, and that was, it's a mixed kind of berry that I got. It's more so like a blackberry. I would say it's a blackberry. Blackberry or blueberry. But still kind of came off sweet and not tart. And then that kind of led into like that subtle kind of orange at this point, and then the rest of it has turned into that burnt kind of like chocolate that you get on the bottom of the pan. Either way, guys, this is a very unique and very well blended batch here by K.Luke. So I want to thank you guys for tuning into this episode of Dusty Dan's Whiskey Reviews. I want to give a big shout out to the team over at K.Luke for supplying with the sample here to review on the channel. Guys, this is a very unique, very well-blended batch of bourbon. I think it is far different from anything that they have put out to date. I typically don't get that that citrusy kind of orange, baker's like burnt kind of chocolate at the bottom of a pan, a mixed berry kind of note there on the front, some brown sugars and black pepper in the back. Hats off to K.Luke for such an amazing, unique kind of batch here, guys. So if you're looking for more reviews like this, hit that subscribe button, bell notification to be alerted of any upcoming reviews or live streams. You can also find me on Instagram at Dusty Dan's Whiskey Reviews. Till next time, guys. Stay dusty.